So it takes back to 2011, Cav winning it. No race radios, right? Because it's the World Championships. So you wouldn't have known necessarily.
No.
At what point did you know? So for example, when Asgreen was crossing the line today, he'd have seen for the first time that Pedersen had won it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So at what point in 2011 do you cross the line and go?
Well, we didn't have
Cav
radios, but that's where David Miller was really good because he was fantastic on the road day, reading a race and being the cool head and the captain, and he kind of ran the whole show that day, holding me back and etc. etc. Once I'd peeled off, Jeremy Hunt had peeled off, David peeled off, the three of us rode in about 4k to go. We stopped, there was a big screen 4k to go, and we stood and watched the World's finish, the sprint finish, and we actually watched it with all these fans and then carried on after. But it was really good actually because when I was a junior, Dave Miller and Jeremy had turned professional for Banesto and Cofidis at the time, and we all looked up to them as juniors because they were like living in Biarritz and living the life, pro cycling magazine kind of down there doing their bits and bobs, and so as they were our junior generation that we looked up to, that if we want to be them, and there was that whole mix there. So then you had the Geraints of this world that were looking up to, like me and Steve Cummins and that, and Cav, and so there was that whole team. There was the three generations of when cycling sort of started booming, from Jez and Dave to me, Steve Cummins, to Stannard, Cav, G, and Chris Froome was in there. So it was an amazing day, really. I don't think we ever really appreciated at the time just how, and then Cav finishing it off as well. I mean, those years with Cav, in his pomp, when you did a lead out, 9 times out of 10 you knew he was going to win.
It was almost a science with Cav.
Yeah, and he was the first rider to wear a filled-in helmet that year as well. That was the first time
illegally as well.
He won the world title illegally. But who cares?
Yeah, got rid of that helmet. Burnt.
So that's what it felt like on the day. Were they British fans you were watching with, by the way?
No, they're all Danish and just mixed bag, Yeah.
Did you communicate? Were they happy for you?
No, we were in the road, so we were on the course.
Yeah.
They were sort of on the sides, and then this big screen was up.
And then that night, so if David Miller was road captain on the day, who was the ringleader that night?
I've heard about this story. Let's go for canapes.
Yeah, Dave. So we were just want to go and find an Irish pub. But Dave being Dave, he's going, dude, look, let's go and get some tapas and nibbles.
It's cool, man. I found somewhere.
Just going to get pissed.
Brilliant.
What time did you turn in that night?
Oh, I can't remember. I lost my passport.
Did you? Yeah. So how did you get home? Emergency passport.
Yeah, I had to go to the embassy and all that. But that's what the Worlds is like, isn't it?
You got to have a laugh. You got to have a laugh at the Worlds. You have a big night afterwards. I mean, when I rode one of the Worlds I rode was in Norway, 1993. That's when Armstrong won, and Ulrich won.
Ulrich won the amateurs, didn't he?
We went out back in the early GB days, and it was like nearly 10 quid back then for a bottle of beer. So we were sober because we were skint. So it was a really, really night.
Deflating.
To be honest with you. Yeah. But I'm hoping tonight will be a little bit different. But
make up for it tonight. Maybe.
I've been making up for it all week. I mean, why not? The Worlds is in Harrogate. It's not going to happen again, and probably out of lifetime. Let's be honest. So I think you've got to work hard and play quite hard. But I am suffering the consequences right now.
Stick with us because
I'm going to be there. I'm holding on. I'm last man. I'm sat on, grimacing, holding onto the wheel at the moment, flapping around, trying to put my cape on,
chewing your handlebars. Yeah. Invisible ice creams out. Everything.